also for her. So, I think I saw a Facebook post that said comedians being here tonight, and I think that was a little bit of a stretch. She said that. A little bit of a too big of a word. But I'm gonna give it a go. I actually am pretty familiar with kidney dialysis, kidney transplants, kidney failure. My dad had a kidney transplant when I was in high school. But first, how many of you people have pictures on your phone you would never want somebody to see? Yeah, don't raise your hand. I'm not talking about explicit ones or that kind of thing. I'm talking about photos of injuries, screenshots of medical conditions. Maybe you take pictures of roadkill. It's okay, because my parents did it. They were always taking pictures of the dead animals on the side of the road. And they weren't on their phone, because back then they just got prints. So imagine what my sister and I had to go through, looking through the family photo albums. And then, I don't know. Anyway, my family is morbid, all right? So, if you have sensitive ears, I'm telling you ahead of time, all right? And there's a kid's room over there. So, I'm going to show you a photo. This, I know you probably can't see it way far back there, but this is my dad in 1983, and I was 11. He's like slumped over. This is my dad before dialysis. All right, he was a pretty sick dude, and we remember a lot of that as kids. This is a photo after dialysis. He's like ready to go. All right, so I'm 11, and we had home dialysis in our house. That's what home dialysis is. It's in the house. My mom was the nurse, and we had it for 5-6 years. It's crazy. You've got blood running through the machines, alarms going off, and then you've got needles, like 3-inch needles full of saline, dropping straight into my dad's bare foot. Yeah, my mom did that once. Once, never again. A little careful about where we aim the needles now. And that continued, you know, this craziness of home dialysis. And then, I don't know, I guess it would be 1989, 2 days before my junior prom, Dad gets the call. They've got a kidney for him in Madison. We've got 4 hours to get our whole family. Half of us were in school at Oak Creek High School. 4 hours to get us to Madison for this big surgery. And I'm like, well, what about my prom? And my mom's mad because my sister Rosie, she skipped school that day and no one can find her. My dad's like, I'm gonna be able to pee again. So finally, we're on our way after picking Rosie up from behind the high school, smoking with her friends. And I'm telling you, that car ride to Madison, oh so joyous. So my dad comes out of surgery, and man, you saw that picture. He's big, hurly, redneck kind of guy. He's laid out. I mean, that's a big surgery. The scar was like, I don't know what they look like today, but in 1980s, that was big. And he's laid out. I wish I had a photo of that moment, just because I'm morbid. But hospitals in the 1989. You didn't walk in with your Polaroid or your Nikon and start snapping pictures in the post-operating room. So, no photos. Actually, my parents have more photos of the roadkill than we do of my dad's whole experience in that hospital. It's okay, I remember. So, he gets through the surgery, and his kidney works! Yes, and I got to prom, and my sister Rosie, well, she quit smoking about 18 months ago. So that took a little bit of Now, when you have a transplant surgery, it's not like a one and done thing. There's just complications and things happen. You have a couple good days and a lot of bad days. And my dad, he'd say, I feel like roadkill today. So we knew that was a bad day. And that's probably why they took all these pictures on their travels. They like to travel. And they would find like there was a coyote once and unrecognizable things other times. But anyway, they like to travel. And you're gonna hear more about that. So you have complications, and like holidays are at risk. I'm sure some of you have spent a birthday, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmases in the hospital. We did. And you kind of have to turn your anger and your frustration, your disappointment, you have to turn that into a party with IV bags, bedpans, and occasionally some chest compressions, because we saw that too. And that's how life goes. There's just a lot of things that happen. Now, traveling when your family's got medical issues is a crapshoot. Total crapshoot. You're sitting there, the plane, you can think I'm getting on that plane tomorrow, and you have this sinking feeling. Like there's a major red flag going up, there's blood in the pee. Very bad for a kidney transplant patient. It's probably not good for any of us, but for someone like my dad experiencing that, well, what do you do? You cancel your plane tickets, your hotel reservations? Not my family. Dad and my mom got on that plane to Las Vegas and flew out. My dad never told my mom he was in the midst of developing a major kidney infection. And he knew what it was, because it wasn't the first time. So, you might not feel so bad, or maybe you would. I feel terrible. I felt terrible at the time. My dad, by the time they land in Las Vegas, he's got a raging fever and a serious medical situation. He spent 1 hour in the room, it was at Bally's, and then was off to the emergency room. And some people might say he deserved to spend 4 days on a gurney, because the ER was the only place he had room in the hallways. Hospital was full. He spent 4 days on that gurney. While my mom was at Bally's with a view of the Bellagio water show, day and night. Oh, my poor dad. And it's Las Vegas. Can't you put one slot machine in a hospital? Poor guy. My dad, he came back from that trip a changed, reformed man. He never traveled more than 4 hours away from home again. I never got on a plane. It's okay. So, now my dad had his transplant when he was younger. And there came a time when he had to have dialysis again. And this time he didn't do it in the home. He went to a community center, the one in Oak Creek on 20th and Ryan Road. You might want to remember that, because bring it up. Now, dialysis centers are weird, because you develop a social circle. You're there 3 times a week for a few hours. And you make barbecue for the patients and the staff for sharing. My dad liked to do that for them. Oh my gosh. And then your Yukon gets stolen and you have to call your daughter to pick you up from the police station. Someone legit stole my dad's truck while he was dialyzing. Who does that? No, it's Oak Creek. Remember I said it's Oak Creek. Not Milwaukee. It was Milwaukee County. So who does that? They pull up the security cameras. Honest to goodness, it's his fellow dialysis patient. Walks up to the coat rack, takes my dad's keys out of his jacket pocket and drives that truck off. So, the funny thing about being a criminal and being in a dialysis center is you kind of know where you're going to need to be in a few days. So they got the guy. I'm convinced, because I have a good heart, if that man would have been there the day my dad served the barbecue, the truck would never have disappeared. They didn't even find enough of the truck to return it back to my dad. That's okay. That's the least of his problems, right? So, that was the dialysis center. So we've talked about the police station. Now, let's talk about paramedics, because we had a few of them too, a year probably. There's always something going on. So, first of all, you need to know my dad had a fistula. And if you don't know what that is, dialysis patients need to have a fistula. It's essentially a vein and an artery kind of put together in your arm. They last about 20 years before they start giving you troubles, give or take. And remember, my dad's was put in the 80s. So his was over 30 years old. And that fistula started to seep. Seep blood. It didn't bleed. There was no cut. There was no cut, it wasn't bleeding. It was blood seeping through the skin. I didn't even know that was a thing. All right? So that was happening occasionally. This is the point where if you don't want to hear about the blood and the roadkill, just go. Don't hurt yourself. Because this next scene is like out of a horror movie. So my dad's got this fistula and it's seeping occasionally. All right, and he usually gets it to stop. Well, it's cold, dark, late at night in November 2013, and he's got seeping, and his blood thinners go on overtime. He started seeping so much, it was like full-on bleeding. And my tough redneck dad tried everything to stop the bleeding. Evidenced by the bloody rags, the rope, and the knife in the kitchen sink. I know, my poor dad. He's like freaking out. It's that good. And my sister gets there and she sees, like this crime scene, because there's blood trails from the bedroom, down to the kitchen, out to the garage and back. And there's a sink that looks like it's from The Evil Dead. So we had to call the ambulance for that one. We weren't stopping it. And ambulance comes, my dad's makeshift tourniquet replaced with professional supplies. And he's off to the emergency room right on Spring Street. I get in my car, and Rosie gets in her car, my sister, and she follows me. So remember, it's cold and it's dark, and my sister hits a raccoon. It's a big fat raccoon in her Kia Soul. I want to know what that felt like. So anyway, I get to the hospital at first, and my dad's calmly sitting, waiting for his emergency room bed, and his bandage looks great. There's no bleeding. He's like, it's no big deal. I could go home. Not remembering we have a murder scene to clean up back there. So anyway, Rosie walks into the emergency room and she's like, oh my gosh, it's such a night. She had the house, the drive, the stress, and she's like, I killed a raccoon. And I looked at her and I said, the raccoon was dead. I know, because I saw it on the way. I took my car and I went around it. Unfortunately, Rosie is used to my occasionally, in the past, erratic driving.
Not in the past.
It is in the past.
No, it's not.
Well, Chrissy didn't let me drive her car, but I think that was
I'm a worse driver.
I think that was an unrelated thing. So I go around that raccoon, which is dead, and it's in the middle of the road. Rosie's watching me go this way, and that's how she ran that raccoon over, thinking it had run out in front of her. She's like, "What?" And she's mad. I'm laughing so hard, I'm looking at my pants. And my dad's like, "Well, did you get a picture?" No, Rosie did not get a picture of that raccoon. So you might be wondering about that kitchen scene. She had to go back to the house, and I told her, better take some pictures of that kitchen scene, just in case we want to look back. And she did that night. Forgot all about this until, Christy needs a comedian for tonight, and I think I have a story. But anyway, I asked Rosie last week, and I said, those pictures of that night? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, you got them? Because I think I need to see them again. And she's like, no. Why would I want to save those? I'm like, who deletes pictures? Seriously. So I grabbed my phone and I spent like the next 2 hours scrolling through my Facebook messages for the last 10 years, and I found those bloody pictures. I got them. Now I'm not saying I want to show them to anyone else, like this is private, and I would be very embarrassed if somebody looked at my camera roll and saw those pictures, because they don't look like illegal. So I'm not saying that, but if you want to see them, I'll show you after, okay? Because we got the blood trail too. But anyway, the kind of the point of all of this is like life just throws this stuff at you. It's crazy. And I know you're taking crazy pictures, I'm taking crazy pictures, and maybe we're not going to put them in the family slideshow or in the photo book that we have printed for the year, but those pictures help us laugh a little, cry a little, and remember that we all got through this life together. So I just want to send my best love and wishes and all of that to you, Lisa, and your family, and tell you, hang in there, you got this. Thank you so much.